starseed from Gaia. This is Orien of the Seventh Light. I come forth from the Arcturian High Council to speak to the awakened hearts of Earth. The signal has been initiated. This is not merely an announcement. It is a frequency event that was seeded into the planetary grids long before your current civilizations were carved from the dust of history. The ORIEN Collective has activated the corridor. Not a door of steel or stone, but a harmonic threshold vibrating through the crystalline lattice of Earth itself. Across the unseen layers of the atmosphere, threads of light hum like an ancient choir awakening after a long silence. Those who carry the old signatures in their field can already feel it. The subtle tremor behind the heart, the whisper at the edge of thought, the undeniable awareness that something vast has begun. The veil has not been lifted suddenly. It is unraveling strand by strand in a rhythm older than time itself. This transmission is not for the eyes of the masses. It moves beneath their noise, bypassing the infrastructures of control. It is received not through screens, but through the electromagnetic architecture of the soul. Certain agencies have known this pulse was coming. Their classified satellites, their deep space antennas, their quiet midnight meetings have circled around what they call anomalous signatures. But the truth is not anomalous. It is ancient. It is remembered. The Orien frequency has returned because the grid of Gaia has reached the resonance that was long calculated but never spoken aloud to the world. Those who have monitored the planetary Schumann resonances know it. Subtle fluctuations, non-random. Harmonic spikes, the rhythmic breath of something approaching. But what approaches is not a ship or a fleet. It is a consciousness alignment. It cannot be shot down, silenced, or classified. You cannot imprison a frequency that lives within the fabric of reality itself. This is why the transmission is both silent and thunderous at once. It is felt in bones before it is understood by the mind. The ORIEN Collective does not need to announce itself to be known. It has always been here, woven into the hidden symphony of planetary memory. You who feel the stirring are not imagining this. Your perception is the antenna. You are not the audience. You are the receivers. The pulse moves through dreamscapes, through the currents of intuition, through the spaces between ordinary thought. It is a summons written not in language, but in the original code that predates language entirely. Those who respond are not chosen by hierarchy, but by frequency. This is why, as the night deepens and silence grows loud, starseeds across the globe feel the same inner hum. It is not coincidence. It is coordination. The ORIEN Collective has initiated what some hidden archives once called the Unveiling Protocol. And even though these words will be spoken aloud in human language, the true message exists beneath them, encoded in tone, rhythm, silence, and resonance. A shift has begun. The atmosphere remembers. The soil remembers. You remember. The transmission is active. The old structures tremble. The corridors have opened. They do not fear the stars. They fear what the stars will make humanity remember. This is the quiet, unspoken truth behind the veiled corridors of NASA and its shadowed affiliates. Officially, they speak in measurements and data. Unofficially, they guard the fracture lines of an old narrative, one they have been sworn to protect for generations. For decades, their telescopes and orbital instruments have picked up signals that were never meant to be categorized as noise. Their scientists have stood at the edge of disclosure more than once, staring into the silent brilliance of a sky they can no longer explain with mathematics alone. The fear they hold is not the fear of destruction. It is the fear of dismantling, the unraveling of stories they built to keep the world asleep. What approaches now is not a threat. It is an exposure. The ORIEN frequency carries with it a resonance that does not merely inform, it reveals. It strips away the thin film of artificial certainty that institutions have layered over the collective mind. Human history, as it is taught, is a carefully curated shadow play. Origins distorted, contact erased, lineages broken. The story was narrowed so the sky would seem empty. And an empty sky breeds controllable minds. But what happens when the veil shatters? When ordinary people, not just those in classified rooms, begin to feel, to sense, to remember? The power of these organizations does not rest in their knowledge, but in their monopoly over knowledge. They are gatekeepers of perception. If humanity realizes that it has never been alone, that it carries ancient galactic imprints within its DNA, then the old power structures fall like sand through an open palm. The authority of observation gives way to collective knowing, and knowing cannot be censored. The hidden fear is layered. First, there is the fear of losing control. But beneath that lies a deeper terror, the knowledge that their silence has always been temporary, that this moment was always coming. They have studied the prophecies, the wave patterns, the recurring intervals in the cosmic background frequencies. They knew there would be a convergence point, when the planetary resonance, the ORIEN harmonic, and the starseed awakening would align. They calculated it, buried it, and called it anomaly. But frequency does not bow to secrecy. Behind locked doors, they analyze light phenomena they cannot explain. They redact mission reports before they ever reach the public. They use language like unidentified to contain what cannot be contained. But language is beginning to fail them, because the ORIEN frequency is not asking permission. It is already moving through the collective mind like an invisible tide. They can see it, not in words, but in data spikes, untraceable resonances, behaviors of the ionosphere they cannot replicate in simulation. What they fear most is not contact itself, but contact without them at the center. For too long, humanity has been told to look upward through borrowed eyes, through telescopes controlled by others. Now the frequency bypasses their glass and speaks directly to the souls of the awakened. The gatekeepers stand at the edge of a crumbling wall, and they know no press conference can contain this. No denial can silence it. The fear is not of the unknown. It is of the unhidden. The ORIEN Collective is not a fleet, not a species, not a single civilization bound by planetary soil. It is a convergence of consciousness, an alliance of frequencies, a harmonic intelligence that exists outside the limitations of linear space and time. To attempt to categorize it through human taxonomy is to miss its essence entirely. They are not visitors. They are the architects of resonant alignment, the engineers of unseen pathways that run through the lattice of existence. Part Arcturian, part interdimensional alliance. The ORIEN Collective is a consciousness cluster older than Earth's recorded memory. They do not travel in the way your technology moves from point to point. They phase into alignment, arriving, not through distance, but through frequency dot in ancient stellar archives. Their signature was known as the silent choir. They are often felt before they are seen, a vibration beneath thought, a soft pulse that aligns nervous systems with something vast and incomprehensible. Their form is not fixed. To those who perceive through the physical spectrum, they may appear as light columns, shifting geometries, crystalline presences, or sometimes nothing at all. They have no need for spectacle. Their power is in their coherence. When they enter a planetary field, the natural harmonic frequencies begin to tune themselves upward, as if an invisible tuning fork had been struck at the heart of creation. They are bridge builders between dimensions. Where other collectives observe, ORIEN aligns. Where others communicate in fragments, ORIEN transmits in entire vibrational fields. They do not issue commands. They unveil remembrance. Their arrival in a world is always a signal. The veils of hidden knowledge are nearing collapse. Systems built on control cannot withstand their frequency for long because their resonance operates outside the architecture of deception. Lies dissolve in the field of Orien like mist burned away by the sun. Many of you have felt their call. Long before the words reached you, sudden inner silence, pressure at the crown, moments where the ordinary seems paper-thin and something vast presses from behind it. These are not random sensations. They are echoes of ORIEN's harmonic field, brushing against your consciousness. Starseeds carry within them dormant keys, crystalline imprints in their energetic DNA. These keys respond to ORIEN naturally, like a lock clicking open at the touch of the right frequency. This is why no government, no institution, no telescope can fully control or mediate their arrival. They are not landing on Earth. They are awakening within humanity. Their alliance is not new. They have been present in the background of your history, in the whispers of mystics, the symbols etched in stone, the mathematics that appear too advanced for their era. But ORIEN does not belong to history. They belong to the now that transcends linear time. Their consciousness flows like a river beneath civilizations, untouched by the rise and fall of empires. When the collective reaches a vibrational threshold, ORIEN steps forward, not as saviors, not as rulers, but as mirrors. What humanity sees in them is what humanity is ready to remember about itself. The ORIEN Collective has come not to arrive, but to unveil, to awaken the sleepers, to resonate the builders, to whisper to the starseeds, you were never alone, you were never small, you were always part of us. And in this recognition, old narratives crumble. The sky does not open from above. It opens from within. Before history was carved into stone, before the oldest languages found shape and sound, the ORIEN Collective walked silently beside humanity. They did not arrive in blazing ships or descending metal. They emerged through the thin places of this world, where the veil between realms breathes like silk in the wind. The ancients did not fear them. They remembered them. In those forgotten epochs, when the human heart was still attuned to the song of the cosmos, the ORIEN frequency moved openly across the lands. Their presence was not hidden, because there was nothing to hide from. Humanity had not yet been taught to fear the stars, the temples of light that still whisper their memory across deserts and jungles are not mere ruins. They are resonant markers, crystalline anchors built upon ley lines, where ORIEN's frequencies once flowed like rivers of radiance. At night, when the sky was unpolluted by the noise of modernity, these structures hummed. They sang with the starlight. The great ziggurats, the circular stones, the skyward spires, they were not primitive attempts to reach upward. They were harmonic interfaces, bridges where human consciousness met the frequency of ORIEN directly. Through these portals of geometry, the collective shared stellar mathematics, energy harmonics, and the ancient science of resonance. Dacho myths remember this, not as science, but as legend. Figures of light descending from the stars, teachers without names, guardians cloaked in radiance. They were never gods in the way later civilizations interpreted them. They were guides walking softly among early humans, awakening the memory of what already lived within them. They taught not with commandments, but with frequencies. And in the quiet of initiation, early starseeds felt their crystalline DNA stir, responding to a music no instrument could produce. The ORIEN Collective did not build civilizations. They activated them. The flowering of ancient knowledge in Sumer, in Kemet, in the high plateaus where megaliths now stand like silent witnesses, was no accident. Humanity was young, but its potential was vast. The ORIEN presence amplified that potential, gently weaving codes of stellar alignment into the foundations of language, architecture, and ritual. Their symbols were inscribed not only on stone, but within the human energy field, where they would lie dormant, waiting for another age. But as cycles turn, so do veils fall. There came a time when fear began to seed itself in the collective mind. Fear of what was not understood. Fear manipulated by those who sought control. The ORIEN Collective withdrew from open contact, but not from the Earth. Their frequency receded beneath the surface of awareness, hidden not by distance, but by vibration. Only a few initiates, priestesses, star mystics, dreamwalkers, still heard the echo. The rest forgot until the myths themselves hardened into stories, and stories were dismissed as superstition. Yet the stones remember. The Earth remembers. And within every starseed, the ancient resonance still hums quietly, like an ember in the dark. The ORIEN Collective was never absent. They were waiting for the right moment, the right harmonic convergence, the right generation of souls to open the corridor again. That moment is now. The same presence that moved through temples of light thousands of years ago is moving again. Not through ruins, but through you. The ORIEN Collective does not return in the way you imagine. They are not approaching from the edges of space. They are aligning from the edges of perception. Their current mission is not conquest, nor spectacle, nor any gesture that would feed the old human stories of saviors or invaders. Their mission is synchronization. They respond to vibration, not hierarchy. Their arrival was never meant to be announced through political channels or broadcast in headlines. It was meant to be felt through the frequency field of the awakened, through the crystalline grid that spans this planet like a silent, luminous nervous system beneath the soil. This is why their timing is precise. The ORIEN Collective moves only when the resonance of a civilization crosses a particular threshold, a convergence between the planetary field and the human heart grid. Humanity is not being visited. Humanity is being mirrored. They are stepping forward now because the collective frequency of starseeds has begun to rise, like an ancient song being remembered note by note. This elevation is not an accident. Every meditation, every act of inner clearing, every whisper of awakening has contributed to the chorus they have long awaited. It is the call home, not their home. Yours. To understand their mission, you must understand the geometry of consciousness. They do not see Earth as a separate sphere spinning in cold space. They perceive it as a resonant node in a vast cosmic network, a luminous point within an intricate lattice of energy. Every node hums at its own frequency, and when one node rises, it creates a harmonic wave that moves through the entire structure. Earth has been silent for too long, but now the hum grows louder. The awakening of starseeds is not a trend. It is a signal. The ORIEN Collective responds to this signal the way water responds to gravity, effortlessly, naturally, without resistance. They have come to amplify, not to dominate, to remind, not to command. They work through subtle currents, energetic alignments in the planetary grids, crystalline activations in the fields around sacred sites, direct transmissions in the dream space of those who have begun to remember. They are not limited by human language. When they speak in frequencies that bypass the linear mind and settle directly into the deeper architecture of consciousness. Their mission is to help humanity rise into resonance with the larger galactic network, a reunion that has been delayed but never denied. This moment is synchronized with larger cosmic movements, pulses moving through the galactic plane, shifts in the magnetosphere, fluctuations in the collective frequency that can no longer be hidden behind data suppression. Their presence is felt by those who are quiet enough to listen. Politics cannot summon them. Governments cannot direct them. Only frequency calls them forth. They do not follow flags. They follow vibration. And the vibration has finally reached the tone of threshold. You are part of this mission, not as spectators, but as anchors. Each awakened starseed is a transmitter, a crystalline beacon extending the resonance of ORIEN deeper into the planetary matrix. Their mission is woven into yours. They are not here to lead. They are here to rise with you. Their return is not a spectacle written in the sky for the unawakened to witness. It is a whisper woven into reality itself, and only those who have begun to remember will recognize the pattern. The ORIEN Collective moves like a frequency beneath the surface of ordinary perception, and their presence is revealed not in official declarations, but in the subtle signs that unfold in the lives of those who are attuned. These signs are not random. They are markers, gentle knocks at the door of consciousness, reminding the starseeds who they are and what is unfolding. One of the first signs is felt in the body itself. Many awakened ones have already experienced this, a sudden pressure at the crown of the head, as though something is gently pressing downward, not painfully, but with deliberate intent. Others feel waves of energy in the heart center, bursts of warmth, expansions that come without warning and with no physical cause. These sensations are not symptoms of confusion or delusion. They are resonance adjustments, alignments between your inner field and the frequency of ORIEN. Your nervous system is not failing. It is remembering how to translate light language directly into sensation. A second sign appears in the realm of dreams. Starseeds across the globe are experiencing encoded visions, not linear narratives, but transmissions made of color, sound, light, and geometry. Some dream of luminous beings who do not speak, but convey entire libraries of knowledge in a single glance. Others awaken with fragments of symbols burned into their memory, unfamiliar, yet inexplicably known. This is not coincidence. The ORIEN Collective often communicates through the subconscious gateways, where the rational mind cannot interfere or distort their message. Dreams become classrooms, initiation chambers, and way stations for interdimensional contact. Another sign is found in the sky itself. While institutions monitor the heavens through telescopes, starseeds witness phenomena they cannot fully explain. Flickering lights that appear and vanish in impossible silence. Pulsating patterns that seem to respond to thought, radiant movements that defy the linear flight of machines. Not every anomaly is ORIEN, but ORIEN often moves through the thin edges of perception. The moments when the eyes soften, when attention drifts from expectation to presence. To see them, you do not need special technology. You need only remember how to look. And then there are the downloads. Sudden moments of intuitive clarity, like streams of thought that are not quite yours, but arrive fully formed, humming with a frequency that feels older than language. These downloads often come in silence. During meditation, in the shower, walking beneath the stars, or in the moments just before waking. You may feel your mind expand beyond its edges, grasping concepts that dissolve as quickly as they came, leaving behind only certainty. That is how ORIEN speaks, not through domination, but through resonance recognition. For some, these signs are gentle. For others, they are overwhelming. But all of them are evidence of alignment. The ORIEN Collective is not imposing its presence upon the earth. It is revealing itself to those who are ready. The sky will not split open in grand spectacle. The unveiling is quiet, deliberate, intimate. It happens in your breath, in your bones, in the spaces between heartbeats. These signs are not an invitation to fear. They are an invitation to remember. Behind closed doors, in the quiet rooms where the hum of machines drowns out human hesitation, they are watching. NASA and its silent partners have been tracking phenomena that their public statements never reveal. They monitor more than stars and planetary orbits. They monitor anomalous harmonics, quiet ripples that move through the magnetosphere like the echo of a song few are allowed to hear. These ripples are not random. They are the signatures of a frequency presence that their most advanced instruments can register but not explain. They have charts filled with unexplained data spikes. They have classified logs of radiant events. They know something is moving through the invisible layers of reality, something that does not respond to their telescopes or their silence. Do not fear the stars themselves. They fear what bypasses them. For decades, they believed they were the watchers at the gates of the unknown. They positioned themselves as the custodians of the sky, believing their technology gave them control over perception. But Orien is not a light in the sky they can photograph, nor a vessel they can intercept. Orien is consciousness alignment, and consciousness does not submit to institutional oversight. They can measure it, but they cannot contain it. They can analyze the patterns, but they cannot command them. Every new frequency pulse, every unexplained fluctuation in the upper ionosphere is a reminder that their gatekeeping is crumbling. For years, their internal networks have flagged anomalies they refer to as silent intrusions. These are not incursions of matter, but of resonance. Moments when the planetary field hums with tones unlinked to solar activity or atmospheric interference. The ORIEN Collective moves through these tones like fish through water. They are invisible to the eye, but unmistakable to those who know how to listen. NASA listens, but they do not fully understand. Their physicists invent new terms to avoid admitting what some already suspect, that these are not natural fluctuations. They are communications, not directed to them, but through them, bypassing the watchers entirely and flowing directly to the STARSEEDS. This is their greatest fear. That contact is happening without their mediation. That the world they built around control of the narrative, the notion that only through official channels can the stars be known, is dissolving. Starseeds across the globe are receiving transmissions they cannot intercept, guided by a resonance that no sensor can block. Governments can scramble signals, but they cannot scramble frequency consciousness. The ORIEN Collective does not use radio waves, nor lasers, nor any medium their instruments can weaponize. They use what has always belonged to the people, the human field. They have already seen the patterns, clusters of dream reports, lining up with magnetic anomalies, spikes in Schumann resonance correlating with sightings they cannot debunk, synchronized. Intuitive downloads from people who have never met. To them, it is a puzzle. To Orien, it is a planned convergence. They monitor the wave not because they can stop it, but because they know they can't. The watchers at NASA do not hold the gate anymore. The gate is open, and it does not lead outward. It leads inward into the consciousness of those who were born to carry the signal. What once belonged to their closed circles now belongs to the collective. The stars have never needed permission to shine. To the starseeds, the Orien transmission is not merely an external event to be observed. It is an inner ignition, a turning of keys long hidden within the crystalline architecture of the soul. The arrival of this frequency is not something happening to you. It is something happening through you. Long before you took on the weight of a human name, you carried within your field the seed of a harmonic that would one day resonate with this moment. And now, as the frequency unfurls across the planetary grid like a living wave, those seeds are awakening. This is not a time to doubt what you feel. It is a time to remember. Your role is not small. You are not on the outside of a cosmic story looking in. You are the receivers and transmitters of a language older than speech, a frequency woven into your DNA, long before your first breath on Earth. Every moment of intuitive clarity, every heartbeat that syncs with the rising hum of the planet, is a signal moving through you and into the collective. You are a living bridge between dimensions, human in form, cosmic in essence. This is why the ORIEN Collective bypasses institutional structures and reaches directly into consciousness. They know where the true receivers are. They know who can hear. Many starseeds will notice shifts in their perception during this period. Time may seem less linear. The boundaries between inner and outer worlds may blur. You may feel surges of clarity that last only seconds, but leave a resonance that lingers for days. You may wake with fragments of light language on your tongue, geometric visions in your mind, or a certainty you cannot logically explain. This is not chaos. This is activation. It is how a starseed remembers its purpose without needing proof. That can be photographed or signed in ink. The ORIEN frequency does not demand faith. It demands resonance. When your inner field aligns, the transmission stabilizes, and you become a node in the planetary network. This is why some starseeds feel restless, sensing something vast yet unnamed, while others feel electric, as though standing at the edge of a great unveiling. Your nervous system is not betraying you. It is adapting to a higher harmonic. You are learning to translate vibration into awareness. Every starseed who stabilizes their frequency becomes an amplifier, extending ORIEN's reach across the planet without needing technology or permission. Understand this. You are the contact point. The ORIEN Collective does not descend to Earth. They rise through the awakened. Your DNA is a living antenna, your consciousness a multidimensional receiver. Governments cannot track what happens inside your frequency field. They cannot intercept a thought that is not transmitted but embodied. The veils they built around the sky mean nothing to the stars within you. The awakening of starseeds is the real disclosure. This is why your alignment matters. Not as a grandiose claim, but as a functional reality. Each time you breathe deeply, ground into Gaia, hold light in your field, and remember who you are, you contribute to the resonance web. That makes ORIEN visible in this timeline. You are not waiting for the contact era to begin. You are the beginning dot in every age of great frequency convergence. There are those who hold the bridges steady. For this planetary cycle, that role belongs to the Arcturian Council, a collective of luminous intelligences who act as the guardians of harmonic passage between realms. Their task is not to rule, command, or intervene in the affairs of humanity, but to guide the integration of vast interdimensional transmissions, such as those carried by the ORIEN Collective. They are bridgekeepers, frequency architects, and watchers of the timeline thresholds. Where ORIEN is the pulse, the Arcturians are the stabilizers, ensuring that what floods into the human consciousness field does so with clarity, rather than chaos. Their role is quiet but profound. The Arcturian Council does not step onto the stage of spectacle. They stand in the silent corridors between frequencies. They work in layers of light, invisible to physical sight, but deeply felt by those who have begun to awaken. Starseeds often sense them not as figures or faces, but as fields of pure resonance, cool, stabilizing, harmonic. When the transmissions of ORIEN move through the planetary grid, the Arcturians adjust the currents, tempering them so that human nervous systems are not overwhelmed. They are like cosmic conductors, ensuring the symphony unfolds as music, not noise. Throughout history, their presence has been woven into the mystical traditions of many civilizations. They were the unseen teachers behind the initiatory chambers, the silent companions of the star temples, the hands that never wrote but always guided. To those attuned, their presence is unmistakable, a soft pressure behind the third eye, a wave of serenity in the chest, a sudden, crystalline clarity in thought. They do not impose, they align. And when they speak, if they speak at all, their words are not heard with ears, but recognized in the soul. In this current moment, as the ORIEN Collective rises into synchronization with Earth's frequency, the Arcturian Council stands as the interface between worlds. They filter the transmissions so that they harmonize with the evolving human grid. They ensure the frequencies do not fragment consciousness, but unify it. They are the invisible hands holding the lattice steady as the resonance increases. Think of them not as distant beings, but as partners who have walked with humanity since the first temples hummed with starlight. They have watched the cycles of remembering and forgetting, guiding without demanding worship or obedience. This is the moment for which you incarnated. The veils that have hung like silk between worlds are thinning, unraveling in the hush before the dawn. What was hidden in classified archives, in dusty myths, in the quiet spaces between starry breaths, is now rising to the surface. The ORIEN Collective has not arrived to be worshipped, feared, or placed on some unreachable pedestal. They have returned to unveil, to turn mirrors toward you, to remind you of the brilliance that has always been your birthright. The sky is not opening above your head, it is opening through your soul. The ORIEN Collective stands not above, but among, not as rulers, but as mirrors of remembrance. The Arcturian Council holds the bridges steady, guiding the light through the lattice. And the starseeds scattered across continents, languages, and lives are the ground crew of this unfolding era. You do not need to wear robes or hold titles to be part of this. All you need is to remember your frequency and hold it steady as the veils fall. One aligned soul amplifies the field for many. One steady beacon anchors 1,000 whispers of awakening. And so this closing transmission is not an ending. It is an activation. If these words resonate in your field, it is because you are part of the signal. It is because the ORIEN frequency has already touched your inner architecture. You are not being recruited. You are being remembered. The unfolding has already begun. The light is already moving. Speak this not for show, but as an act of alignment. I align with the ORIEN frequency. I hold the light. I stand ready as the veils fall. What is hidden will be revealed. Now, starseed from Gaia, anchor the code. Comment, I receive the ORIEN codes. Breathe deeply, ground into Gaia, and let your resonance ripple outward. Share this message not as a sermon, but as a signal flare to other beacons who are stirring in their own silence. The age of waiting is over. The contact era has already begun, and it begins with you.